What's up, guys? I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. We got my little wind muff in for this mic, but I'm still not going to use it because, it's just extra work anyways to have another mic attached. So, you know what? If you guys like how the videos traditionally look, that's fine. But anyways, it's a weird time in the hobby right now. It's a really weird time. Things are going ridiculously well, and things are going disastrous at the same time, right? So right now we had, and I just talked about yesterday, the biggest scandal in Pokemon history was CGC. And my thoughts and speculation on like what might happen to CGC down the road as a result of this. On top of that, we have still the highest prices for cards in general. PSA, CGC, BGS, we're seeing record highs on pretty much everything across the board, vintage and modern record highs, mind you. It's really an amazing time to be in the hobby, but it feels weird because you know that like deep down in your gut, there's like a gut feeling that like people are not enjoying themselves right now, I've been collecting now for like 5 years, so I feel like when you're in the hobby this long, it's just like there's highs and there's lows. There's booming markets like this that are super bullish, and then things are dead and no one cares about anything, and people think there's no money to be made, no opportunity to be made, no amazing value to be had from all the collection pickups. And it's just like it really is. I'm going to compare it to the stock market for a second here and say that it's better to stay consistently investing in it, or in this case, consistently collecting in it, rather than trying to hit it in a boom market or a bust market. I've never felt that way about Pokemon. I think it's great people who can really put funds aside and get ready to deploy large amounts of capital into making plays. I do pretty well for myself, so I think I'm able to do that sometimes, but for the most part, I just buy stuff when I feel like buying it. There's really no serious strategy. I've gotten really lucky. A lot of the stuff I've bought has gone up in value tremendously. And I've bought a lot of stuff that hasn't gone up in value. Or I bought a lot of stuff that's kind of been sitting at the same value for a couple of years. So there's your big wins, your stability, and your losses. But overall right now, it feels like everything is up and everybody's winning, but there's always another side to it. There's another perspective to the losing side, the people that are paying a huge, ginormous premium on stuff like alt arts, SIRs, people trying to rationalize how a card that's a year old could be worth so much money already. The prices drastically changing from their release date being super inflated, and then all the prices dropping and dumping, and then after a year or two, now you're seeing 10x value on a lot of these cards. I think we see it, right? A lot of people that have been in the hobby long enough see it, and we're like, this is madness. How can I justify buying in this market? And then there's people that are just coming in, they see it for what it is, and they're gonna buy it anyways, right? I do get the feeling that we are in a peak market. I gotta be honest with you guys. It feels like we're in a peak market. It just feels too good to be true. And at the same time, every single day I'm selling more stuff. I've run out of boxes almost because I didn't prepare for really to have this kind of demand on products. Like I'm sitting on stuff for maybe a couple days and then it's gone. So that's a totally new thing to me. But I also have products on my eBay that just sit and sit and sit and sit. And it's not just because stuff is overpriced. It's also just because some products just don't move. There's just not interest in it. So you can definitely have some losers in this hobby. It's not like everything is up. But for the vast majority of the most popular cards that I think a lot of people consider novice collectors to already know and understand, but a lot of them don't. Alt arts, SIRs, that's the creme de la creme of modern, right? That's what everybody wants. And all that stuff is up, right? We're seeing cards that were, I don't know, $30, $40 in PSA 10 a year ago. Now they are triple that. And that's like some of the worst cards, right? We have so many examples of 10x returns on cards that have gone from, $10 to being a $100 card. The Magikarp is such a great example, coming in hot at like $30-$40 after releasing, and now being a $1,700 card in a PSA 10. That card just, it blows my mind. It defies all odds. Yeah, how they evolved in general. I think a lot of novice collectors are probably like just confused with how a set that was printed not that long ago could be worth so much. It does have a lot of amazing Pokemon in it, so it's really no wonder why that set has done so well in the secondary market. And a good amount of time has passed. We forget that a year goes by and it feels like it's short, but really a lot of time has passed for this stuff to go up in value. But the real question I think everybody is wondering and worried about is, when does it stop? At what point does it stop? And do we get to a point where we're like, guys, this is insanity. Anybody buying the cards at this price is fixing to lose big. And we did see this during the pandemic. We saw a lot of people go really heavily, myself included, into cards that they had no business buying, that went up, crazy in value at first, and then things came down crashing. Now, I luckily sold a lot of my stuff even during the pandemic. As I was collecting, I was also reselling a lot of my stuff and kind of repositioning myself. And I got lucky because repositioning my whole collection and trimming everything down, I did it at just the right moments so that I could get back in a lower market, which is essentially what happened for me, just not even trying to, really. There wasn't really a strategy for it. It kind of happened, and I got lucky. And I'm willing to be open and admit that. I have a lot of cards that have doubled in value, but that's vintage, and it's exciting, but it's not nearly as exciting as seeing some of the gains that modern cards have had. And that's what people love right now. But what people don't love is paying a huge premium on this stuff and then seeing it go down 100, 200, 300. I think a lot of people like cards like the perfect example, I think, right now in Modern. I think one of the best examples of just insane inflation, right? The Umbreon from Evolving Skies, and that's not the one I'm talking about, but the Umbreon Evolving Skies is a great example, but it's also extremely popular for a Pokemon. It's a very popular Pokemon. I think Umbreon is sick. I think people have always thought Umbreon is sick. There's the Dark Evolution. It's always been badass. Let's be honest. Let's be real here. But Evolving Skies was also a big set, and so when people came back into the hobby and Modern was just starting to be a thing, I would really say COVID era was when, modern card collecting really became a thing. People just weren't as into this hobby from, those earlier years, 2016 to 2019. And there was an influx from 2016 to 2019 because of Pokemon Go, I would say, arguably. But my point is, things are crazier now than ever, and people are getting into Modern, and it's super hot. And I don't think people are worried about taking big losses, but I think they should be, because you think it's just going to keep on going up until it doesn't. And so that's just something I got to get off my chest, that I want to be bullish. I want to be bullish about the hobby, and I think I am. Like, maybe this is the new norm, guys. And that's okay, but it really alienates a lot of people from being a collect if cards are becoming this crazy price-wise. The Umbreon, I remember when it was craziness 2-3 years ago for it to be $1,000 for a PSA 10. It was crazy. It was like one of the most expensive modern. It was the most expensive modern card at the time. And the Gengar is from Fusion Strike is definitely trying to catch up with the Moonbreon, which I don't get, because the Gengar has nothing on the Umbreon. Sorry guys, sorry for the Gengar fans, but yeah, it was crazy. And now we look at the Umbreon, and the populations are insane. Over 10,000 or over 15,000, and it's a $3,000 card, which just blows my mind. But another example that I do want to talk about, because I really want to get this card. Sorry guys for the enthusiasm, but I really, really want this card. I cannot justify it to save my life right now. The Latios GX from Team Up, and honestly the Gengar Mimikyu too. Those have gone up tremendously in value, and those actually make a little bit more sense, I gotta be honest, because the populations are way lower. I think the Lovebirds are the Latios GX is like $1,600 roughly. I think it's really not that crazy in comparison to some of the ultra modern stuff we have now. But the price point like feels like overnight it went from $2,700, and even that was a crazy price point. I was really trying to get that card under like $2,500, maybe even around the $2,000 area. It just feels like yesterday it was a totally different price point. And then bam, now it seems that they are selling almost at $5,000 and maybe even more than $5,000. Whoa. Oh my gosh, guys. And that's just one example, but I'm taking these examples from the very hottest of cards because I'm like, how sustainable is this for people in this hobby to be buying cards that cost this much? They cost as much as a car, right? How many people are doing this? And it just doesn't seem sustainable. It doesn't seem sustainable. There, I said it. And I think we're going to have a big retrace, and I think we're going to have a big crash, but it's just a gut feeling. Because like I said, it's just a theory, it's a speculation. I need to be more clear when I'm doing videos to let people know that I'm just speculating. I'm just thinking about stuff. Because the hobby remaining bullish for a really long time, like year after year after year, and prices continuing to rise every single time. Again, it doesn't feel sustainable. It doesn't seem like it makes sense. I'm really interested to see what you guys think about this. Are you on the fence with the market too? Do you feel like, everything is going up, so it seems like you can't lose buying anything, right? I really want to point on that, is that you want things to hold their value. But I pointed out very modern, popular cards because I wanted to point out that it's like the stuff that's very obvious, right? Like, I've always talked about vintage cards that I love and grail cards and crystals and gold stars, but everybody loves and collects modern, pretty much. So I think everybody knows what I'm talking about when I mention cards like that. Yesterday, my mind was blown. I went to check what my graded stuff was going for, and I was like, Tyranitar in a 10? Battle Styles Tyranitar in a 10 for $500? Like, oh, what is happening? What is happening? I was looking at my PSA 9 returns, and I was like, dude, even the 9s are money right now. Like, I'm 100% up on, like, every single graded 9 that I bought raw, like, a year ago. And a year is a decent amount of time, but in the grand scheme of investing, like 10% is very decent for a year. And in Pokemon, it defies all odds. It just says, screw your 10% average returns. In Pokemon, you can make 100% over and over and over and over again with different things like buying sealed and investing in sealed product, or grading, or selling raw cards right at release. There's so many different avenues. Buying and flipping used stuff on eBay, which is what I pretty much do. It is insane to me. It is insane to me, the amount of opportunity right now. And I'm loving it, but it just seems a little too good to be true. And then on the other side of things, it is out of touch. It is out of touch to say that things are just going insanely well, because there's a lot of people that cannot get product where they're at. They can't get it at all. And I sympathize. I guess I actually have to admit that we're having those issues in Charlotte right now. It used to be. I just made videos not long ago, couple weeks ago. I was able to walk in and get products. I have always been able to get products if I really, really hunt for it. I've always been able to do that, regardless of whether it's bullish or not. I've always been able to luck out just by being persistent. But not everybody has the time out of the day where they can be persistent and go after products, even at retail. People have to work. They have to go to their jobs, 9 to 5. To be connected to that reality for most people is really, really important when you're giving perspectives on YouTube. Not a lot of people have time to catch restocks on stuff. And in this environment, stuff is selling for so much on eBay, not a lot of people can even afford to buy stuff on the secondary market. That's why I'm happy that I do run auctions on stuff, because a lot of the times I know my buy it now listings I price it for what I'm comfortable letting it go of down the road, but I do auctions that start at 1 cent. Now, one thing that I do think that this time is great for is buying raw cards, going to shows, buying raw cards, and grading them. Right now, it seems like unlimited returns through grading. And it doesn't matter. I really don't think it matters if it's PSA, CGC, BGS. I really think that across the board right now, you're going to have no issues selling any freshly graded cards, especially the ones that are hot, which is what I've been trying to basically focus on. I'm interested to see how this next submission goes with PSA. I keep hoping that the cards will get back, they'll get graded and come back in time for me to actually still capitalize off of the market being at the point that it's at right now. And that is because deep down, I don't believe it's going to last. Guys, this isn't like a bearish overall opinion. This is a gut feeling that things are going to go wrong. Already, we're seeing pre-order issues. We're seeing people in Japan not able to get the latest sets. Journey Together. It's bad. Now, I typically don't talk about Japan, but that's where it starts, right? And then it goes over. I think the UK, I think they get stuff before us, and then we get stuff. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad here. People are going to lose their marbles for these next sets. Not even trying to add gasoline to the fire. It's just how it's going to be. People are going to lose their marbles. Where will the state of Pokemon be if people truly get that frustrated? I do think the average collector and average person is not, I feel like, well equipped for the market that we are headed towards, right? I feel like you need to be in this hobby long enough and be confident with what you're doing and have the means, have a platform, have a way to sell things quickly and easily. I think potentially what we're going to see with these last sets releasing, the Glory of Team Rocket, Journey Together, it sounds like we're getting a split up Team Rocket set. It also sounds like we are going to see Ho-Oh in the mix, which is going to be really cool. But I think with these later sets, people are going to overspend after release. They're going to way overpay on these cards. And then you're going to see prices dumping. That's what I think is going to happen. And people are not going to be able to get rid of them quick enough. And they're just going to be stuck with them at the top. And then Pokemon Company is going to say, surprise! We're going to print this thing into the ground. We're going to print it all into the ground. And the following year, during the next era, everything will still be in rotation. We'll be getting sprinkles. I've said several times we'll be getting sprinkles of stuff. But I really think Pokemon is gonna bring the hammer down. And they are going to print so much stuff that suddenly everyone will be happy there will be so much product. But then people are going to complain and be miserable that the value has been demolished, right? We saw this happen with Crown Zenith, and this is a different environment. But history does tend to repeat itself. These are all theories and speculations that I have on the hobby. And I just want to keep it short today. I'm spending the rest of the day with the girls. We're having a great day. It's a muggy, wet day outside, so it's a fantastic day to stay in. This video will be uploaded tomorrow, but we do have a live stream that I'm excited for tonight. That'll be good. During the live stream, I don't even have plans to open anything. I actually think we're just going to have an open discussion, which will probably, it will probably be a good addition to this video, but this video will come out the following day, tomorrow. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think. Let me know if you feel like you have that gut feeling too, that right now as a collector in this hobby, it's an amazing time to be selling and grading and capitalizing, but someone is losing here. And I feel like it's a lot of the new collectors. And I think people are going to be frustrated. People are going to realize this is not for me. I can't afford this. People are going to go into credit card debt. I've seen it. I've been there. I'm willing to admit that. I do think it's a part of this hobby. It's part of the addiction and the gamble. And there's so many cool new things always coming out. And there's so many amazing vintage products that you learn about and get obsessed with. Or at least that's how I operate. So I wonder if other people operate that way. So I don't know. Let me know what you think, guys. And is this hobby like not cooked in a bad way? If it's cooked for the best. It's gonna, things are going to explode and then come back down to earth as people realize, like, you're right. Paying all these crazy prices is just stupid. It doesn't make sense. And I know it might be a dangerous narrative to spread that, like, I have a gut feeling that things are going to go downhill. But it doesn't change my narrative on being a collector long term. It doesn't change the fact that I'll still be here whether things are burning or up. Because now a lot of us seasoned collectors see that there's a lot of value in doing the long game and just, buying, selling. And then occasionally you get lucky and you get a big boom market. And now you can really sell without any guilt because you are making profit 100% on everything. It's really incredible. And here I still sit with a lot of my stuff and think, nope, I'm not letting go of it. I'm not letting go of it in this market. I'm going to keep holding on to it because the older stuff has not seen its day in the sun yet. And a lot of my older stuff, especially theme decks, I'm holding on to because I love them. And that's how you should collect. You should collect what you love. But I'm also holding on to them because I'm just like, bro, if this is a bull market now, imagine a bull market in 5 years. Like, the returns that you could see on this stuff would truly be life-changing. So I'm even considering starting to hold on to a lot of my graded cards that I get back instead of flipping a lot of them instantly. I think it's actually better, if I can afford to not try and get my liquidity back and to just sit on them for a while. If I can afford to dump $1,000, $1,500 into grading, which again, it goes back to the reality of most collectors and the average person, they are not going to want to dump that kind of money into grading. Or let's say it's just 20 cards. If it's just 20 cards they're submitting, still, it's going to be like over $300, and that's with no upcharges whatsoever. It's $17 a card at PSA. It adds up quick, and then you add that to, you might want to buy some cards, you might want to buy product to open it. It takes no time in this hobby to rack up $1,000. So I probably undervalue my own collection severely because I don't realize how much stuff's gone up. But it's all fun. It's all fun. I try to make it sustainable, and I think a lot of people, if you're able to make it sustainable, even in a bull market, you're winning still, right? If you're able to buy really expensive stuff, like I just bought a Greninja PSA 10 from Twilight Masquerade. It was freaking $700, but still, after buying the Greninja, I was able to sell stuff yesterday worth that much, and I sold stuff today worth half that much. So I'm like still bringing in, as long as you keep that money revolving, if you're spending it, then I do think that it doesn't matter what market we're in. It's irrelevant. But I still have this gut feeling. Let me know what you guys think. I know I forgot some stuff. I try to remember everything I wanted to talk about, but I just feel like there's a lot of confusion, and people are scared to take a risk on something that's new to them, that everyone is preaching, this can only go up, everything to the moon. It sounds very crypto. It sounds very crypto, bro. Like, it sounds very like that means things are going to inversely happen. If things are just been rocketing up, things are going to fall. And I want to specify here that I think a lot of the vintage stuff is not going to fall. No matter how the market swings, I don't think vintage stuff is going to fall very much. And if it does, a lot of us collectors would rather have vintage cards. And for those of us that want, not a lot of us, a smaller group of us really, really love vintage cards. We're either sentimental, we're nostalgic, or we just appreciate the art style a little bit more. Somehow, some way, if it can be fathomable that a person could like older hand-drawn artwork than modern stuff. Anyways, that being said, I would love a haircut on vintage Grail cards. That would be a godsend right now. So I could actually finish my goals, because in this market, this collector is not able to really finish their ultimate goals because of the market environment that we're in right now. So, and it does get really frustrating to a point where you're like, you know what? I quit. Like, I quit. I'm done trying to complete crystals or gold stars or first edition base set or first edition shinings, which I haven't even started yet. So let's not even get started on that. But it's like I'm never going to complete these goals. Cards are getting way too expensive. So yeah, it would be nice if we actually saw a big drop in the market. But I fear most for people buying modern cards. And that is exactly why... Squeaky chair. Oh, I've been buying so many graded cards. These are so much fun. The graded cards with the modern cards. Anyways, that is exactly why when I bought this card the other day, this Greninja, and while it is stunning, it's a beautiful card, and I think this one might actually do well holding up regardless, just because it's such a crazy looking artwork. It's very busy. But I freaked out over buying this card. I don't buy modern cards for this much, guys. That should be a freaking huge red flag. A red flag in one, the fact that I actually bought a card like this. And a red flag in two, that I feel the way I feel, and I have a gut feeling that like this was probably one of my worst purchases in the hobby this year. I know some people are going to be like, dude, the Greninja is sick. Like, it looks so cool. And now I've got this Greninja toy that goes with it, and they can be best buddies together. But it doesn't change the fact that this Greninja is sick. Like, he's got a little throwing star right there. It doesn't change the fact that I kind of feel like I way overpaid on something. Like, no, Ryan, that's the 10 premium. The 10 premium is insane right now for everything. It doesn't mean that you should buy it. Just because the sales are nutty doesn't mean that that's what the market is really feeling. It means that there are people out there that are probably misinformed and don't understand how this market works, and they're overspending and overpaying, and people don't want to hear that right now, but it's how I really feel. I feel like people are overspending and overpaying on cards, and just like, they're going to be stressed out about it, they're going to put themselves into debt, and they're going to be like, damn, like, why did I spend $700 on a freaking modern SIR? Like, oh my god. And don't even get me started about the Bubble Mew, guys. The freaking Bubble Mew is like $1,000 right now. Giratina is like $1,500. I do think the Vs should have gone up more in value than the VMAXs. I actually like the Vs more than the VMAXs. At this point, I think across the board, I like the Vs more than the VMAXs. I wish we got a Gengar V for Fusion Strike. I really do. Why couldn't we just get a freaking Gengar V? Okay. But yeah, prices are crazy. I think people are going to be in over their heads. And I think a lot of people can agree with me. Even if I hope the market, for your sake, if you're buying cards at peak prices right now, which I believe we're at peak prices, I really hope for your sake that a lot of those prices hold up. But I am not proud of me buying this card. I bought it for content, just to have fun. But I've been on such a roll lately, buying the right stuff, selling cards, selling in this market. I've really been turning a lot of profit on stuff, and it's enabled me to collect more sustainably, and even it's enabled me to collect Grail cards. And I have something really big on the way. It is finally on the way. It has been taking forever. But I have something really big on the way, and that card is mostly funded by all of my eBay sales. I'm really excited about it, because it's the first card that I haven't just shelled out the money for and been like, oh, well, it's a dope Pokemon card. It's really a card that I feel like I've worked for and earned as far as being a seller in this community, and just doing a ton of auctions, a ton of listings, letting go of some stuff that I didn't want to let go of, but making some needed sacrifices. But it's turning a lot of really nice stuff into something absolutely incredible, and done it sustainably. So I'm really excited to share that with you guys. So hope that'll be here any day now. So I'm really excited for it. It's going to be sick. Definitely an absolute grail. But for now, I did want to end on this note talking about the Greninja, because I didn't feel great about the purchase, and I literally have I might even have two. I think I have two. Yeah, I have one in this stack. Yeah, I have a huge stack of stuff that I'm grading, but I have one in this stack, the Greninja. I also feel like a lot of people are going to spend a ton of money on grading right now, and they're just going to grade everything they have, because that's what I did with my first submission. I graded everything I had and also threw in some stuff that I just wanted to get graded. But I really, really should have owned in on, like, what do I think is going to 10? What do I think they're actually going to give a gem mint grade to? And I think a lot of people are just submitting to submit. So when you couple that with new people paying over MSRP to open products, then they're submitting all kinds of cards, or they're submitting their pack fresh stuff, and they're going to get wrecked in grading. And then they sell that. And take an L on that, and then they pay twice as much for a modern PSA 10 that someone else graded, and then they just shell out the money for that. There are so many losses that can occur as someone transitions and changes and grows their hobby right now, because the prices are absurd. Alt arts in the past, guys, anybody who's new here, anybody who doesn't know this, the history of alt art prices is kind of nutty, because there was a time where very few of them were over $100, $200. You know, you had your absolute bangers that were over that $200, $300 threshold. And then most stuff was right over 100, or even a lot of stuff was under 100. For the longest time, we had $10, $20, $30 alt arts. The Suicune from Crown Zenith is one of my favorites. I had like 10 of those, right? I had 10 of them. A 9 is like 60, 70 bucks right now. A 10 is like 170. And they printed Crown Zenith into the ground. So while I do think that Pokemon could print these sets into oblivion, and really give the people what they need, but also it would hurt a lot of newer collectors who are buying into the hobby hard. I do think ultimately long-term, everything will continue to rise in value. This is a really sustainable hobby when it comes to that. Like, it's honestly, it's incredible how sustainable this hobby can be, how predictable it can be. It can be very unpredictable. And that ties in with a lot of singles too. Maybe that should be the next video. I'll probably talk about how insane and undervalued a lot of the IR market still is. There are an insane amount of IRs that are under $10 that could be the next big thing. I already screwed up with the Houndour. The Houndour was one of them. The Houndour is like booming right now, which I should have seen that coming. I love Houndour. I should have seen that coming. I need to start just buying heavily into stuff that I believe in and like, because I have really good taste. A lot of the stuff that I like a lot, other people tend to end up liking. The market ends up agreeing, saying this is a really high-end card. I still cannot believe I didn't see that Paldea evolved Magikarp coming, though. I just didn't see it coming. I thought that card was going to live in the $50, $100 range for a very long time. I did not see the kind of market changes we saw. And there's also a lot of manipulation, and I think with a lot of that manipulation, because this is a very shallow market, to say that this market can't be manipulated is absolutely absurd. This market can definitely be manipulated. You do have to have a lot of buying power, especially when those populations get really high of certain cards. But yeah, there's a lot of risk, a lot of gamble, a lot of reward, a lot of success, and a lot of failures that people probably don't highlight all that much. But I have had a lot of failure in this hobby. I have had so much failure. I've had cracking stuff to regrade it failures. I've had buying and flipping stuff failures. I've had, of course, content failures. I've had... I bought resealed stuff one time. That was very early on in my collecting journey, but that's another thing, man. It's people coming in now, of course they're going to get burned by vintage resealed stuff, and then they're going to hate the hobby forever because they got burned right when they got back in. That almost happened to me when I got back into this hobby. So that's another reason why people might be gravitating towards modern, because modern feels safe. It feels safe. You can't buy a lot of vintage stuff without worrying if it's been weighed, I will dare say scanned, and just checked, tampered. So it's, and that's not changing anytime soon. So it's only going to get worse. So I think more and more focus will continue to go into modern because it's a safe haven, a place that's pretty consistent, and a place that is a smart place to put your money. Right now, I love my vintage stuff. My vintage stuff is like grails, right? And we should probably do an updated video on like my modern and vintage collection and where it's at. Because I feel like a lot of you probably think like, Orion definitely probably sold a couple of those cards at this point. Nope. I still have a lot of my highest value cards, like my $10,000, $20,000 cards. I still have those cards. So we should definitely do like a recap video and go over everything that I struggled to get into my collection. And now all the new stuff that I'm grading and picking up and just having fun with. That would be a fun video. But modern is so much fun to buy. It's just way more affordable, way easier to grade. I'm having such a great time with modern right now. So it's nice to be able to finally say that, because for the longest time I was just like, modern's overpriced, it's inflated, and look at where modern is now. So modern has just slapped me upside the head and said, see, Orion, you should have been grading sooner. You should have been grading all the modern you had. You shouldn't have been focused on binder building. Man, I have so much regret, because I feel like if I would have been grading sooner, PSA would have been a lot more lenient. But that's just my opinion. Their grading standards got stricter with centering, so that's just my opinion. Anyways, I can't wait to get this third fat submission out. This is going to be so much freaking fun, guys. I can't wait to get this one out. And I can't wait for the next one to come back. It's a big 151 based submission. Really, really excited for that. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.